This conference will now be recorded.
The Happy Trails Community Association Board of Directors meeting, April 23rd, 2026, is now called to order. Please stand for the prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance.
My gracious Heavenly Father, we come to you today as we get ready to have a meeting with one another. We hope that each one of us will open our minds and our hearts, and that you would fill us with the truth, and that we would all come together in the right way, not fight, not argue, Father. Give us peace here in Happy Trails. Bless this community, help it grow, and help it grow in the right way. We thank you for all you bless us with. All this through Jesus' name. Amen.
Roll call vote. Jennifer Ellswick, present.
Present.
Becca Paulson, Vice President. Is that her? Cliff
Present.
Fred Rand, Treasurer.
Present.
John Chilcote, Director.
Present.
And Becca Paulson, Vice President. Per motion for no more than 2 minutes. Virtual attendance. If attending virtually, please keep your audio muted. To speak, raise your virtual hand, and when recognized, state your name and lot number, just as you would if attending in person. Purpose. During an open meeting, members have the right to comment on a pending motion prior to the board's vote. This is a time for comments, not a question and answer session or debate. Relevance. Comments should be focused on the motion currently under formal discussion. Conduct. Negative or personal remarks directed at fellow residents, association employees, or members of the board of directors will not be permitted. Thank you.
I, Cliff Giroux, make a motion to approve the minutes of March 26, 2026 Board of Directors meeting.
May I have a second? Directors, any questions about the minutes? Motion to approve the minutes. All in favor? Aye. Becca, can you hear us? Thank you. Darlene?
Financial update. Operating as of February 28th, 2026. Operating 593,374. Sorry, slide. Reserve 4,353,366. Activities 294,931. Clubs 160,286. Asset improvement 1,523,548. Reserve capital improvement 1,029.
I, Fred Rand, move to accept February the 28th, 2026 financial report.
I second it.
Directors? All those in favor of accepting the February 28th financial, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I, Fred Rand, move to approve Happy Trails 2026, 2027 operating budget and annual owner assessment increase for the fiscal year of beginning July 1st, 2026, as presented by the Finance Committee.
I second that motion.
Directors, any questions? Any questions, directors? Anyone?
Two 2026 to 2027 operating budget. Operating budget, 167,084. Reserve fund contributions, 55.95. Sewer pass-through, 11.69. Stormwater pass-through, 2.75. Happy Trails owners total, 238.23. Villa landscape charge, 34.90. Villa owners, 273.13.
Fred, there is a correction. Operating budget is $167.84, not. Thank you.
For further explanation, the villa owner's contribution has not yet been confirmed. We are in negotiation with the villa's owners to determine what is the exact right amount of the pass-through of the villa's owner special assessment. The Villa Ad Hoc Committee has been working and providing documentation as to what exactly percent of a landscape person they need. And there are discussions right now going on. So before we hit July 1st and the actual assessments are charged to the villa's owners for the special assessment, we will have determined the amount of time that a landscape person is dedicated to the villas. However, the Finance Committee submitted this budget for approval, and we do need to get the budget out to the owners. So the board will be looking to approve this budget, knowing that there is the codicil that there will be a change to the villa owner special assessment. Any questions?
Becca Paulson? Lost her. Cliff Giroux?
Yes.
Fred Rand? John Chilcote?
Yes.
Jennifer Ellsworth?
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
I, Fred Rand, move to approve the Financials Committee's recommendations for 3.5% salary increase for Happy Trails employees.
I second that motion.
Directors, any discussion? Any owners? Darlene, roll call vote.
Becca Paulson? Cliff Giroux?
Yes.
Fred Rand? John Chilcote?
Yes.
Jennifer Ellsworth?
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Say cancel. I, John Chilcote, move to approve updating the calculation of the villa assessment, special assessment for landscaping and maintenance on villa private lots to an actual cost-based determination in order to provide accountability, oversight, and transparency, to be adjusted yearly based on actual expenses.
Second. I second. I'll second. Directors, any discussion? Owners,
You need to come up to the podium, please. Becca Paulson. Cliff Giroux.
Yes.
Fred Rand. John Chilcote.
Yes.
Jennifer Ellsworth.
yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Becca, are you available? We can't hear you. Okay. I, Jennifer Ellswick, move to approve a new standing, maintain, and improve committee and to appoint Sandy Green as the interim chair and to appoint Cliff Guru as the liaison. Do I have a second? I would like to explain a little bit about this committee, and we have a BG&M committee that was created many, many years ago, and I learned from some people who have been around in Happy Trails way longer than I have, that the original intent of the BG&M committee was to take the place of a person that was a contract manager. When Happy Trails was managed by the developer, they had a position called a contract manager. And the contract manager got bids, negotiated contracts, and then oversaw the projects during the stage of time when the developer was in charge of the community. When the developer turned the community over to the owners, there was not sufficient funds to have this at that point in time. There was not sufficient funds to have this position of a contract negotiator. Therefore, the BG&M committee was formed. So now we have a BG&M committee that has, over the years, taken on a lot of hats and kind of moved away, if you will, from the actual original intent. Therefore, it is time that we look to the future and we look to the fact that all of us realize that we are living in a community that is 40 years old, and that in a community that's 40 years old, there are things that will need to be maintained. And in addition to maintaining things, we must improve things. Yesterday, we had a fun meeting, community conversation, and talked about all the things that resort means to people. One thing that came through loud and clear with respect to what resort means to people is maintaining the amenities that we do have. So the purpose of this committee would be to maintain and improve Happy Trails. Directors, any questions, directors?
Sandy Green, would you stand up for a minute? Please. Sandy Green is known for conflict resolution. And a lot of our contracts we have discussions about, and I really strongly believe that Sandy can work through these proposals given to us without any conflict with anybody in the resort. We're trying to make things a little bit more streamlined and get things moving a little faster. And I just believe that Sandy is capable of doing just that without a whole lot of distraction or conflict.
Directors, anything else? Owners?
Glenn Brower, lot number 539. As past chairman of the PG&M committee for many years, I just wondered if we were putting on another layer and getting approved. I know in the past you established what they call a club reserve fund committee. Now that was another layer. It would take 1, 2, 3 committees then before it got to the board. Is this going to be an obstruction of the approval for line that you only have a limited time here?
This spring. Save during outdoor power deals now through April 29th at the Home Depot.
To answer your question, no. If they would be operating separate, they would be operating separately. There would not be another layer.
Okay, do you have a mission statement of that for that committee?
We do not yet. They will create, what will happen is the chair and the board liaison, and probably Bradley, one member of management, will interview candidates to be on the committee. And when the committee is fully formed, then they will create a mission statement and a charter.
Okay, now, when the mission statement is completed, is that going to be reviewed by the membership, the board, or what for approval?
The mission statement and the charter will be voted on in a board meeting, an open board meeting.
Okay, thank you. I just didn't want to get another layer on, get things approved and stuff in there. Thank you.
No, understand. Anyone else? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 I, John Chilcote, move to approve the proposal from the Landscape Committee for the completion of the split rail fence on Happy Trails Boulevard for an amount not to exceed $1,600 to be paid out of operating.
Second,
I second that motion.
actually, there is a correction to this motion. It will be paid out of the asset improvement fund. So John, are you able to?
Let me make a correction to that, to be paid out of the asset improvement fund, not the operating fund.
Are you good to say?
I approve that.
Directors, any questions? Owners, any questions?
Yeah, Terry Walters, Lot 497. This is an operating expenditure, not an asset improvement fee. Thank you.
No, it is an asset improvement because we're adding something. Thank you. If anyone has not seen them, there are 3 sections of the split rail fence between the entrance, the guardhouse island, and trigger. They add to the median.
Roll call vote. Becca Paulson,
Yes.
Cliff Juru,
Yes.
Fred Rand, John Chilcote,
Yes.
and Jennifer Elsman.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
I, Jennifer Ellsworth, move to approve the proposal from the Landscape Committee for the purchase of 2 shade sculptures for installation at NC1 for an amount not to exceed $30,000 to be paid out of asset improvement. Is there a second?
Second.
I would like, this motion was on our meeting in March, and the Landscape Committee was here to talk about it briefly. It is back again because NC1 does not have any shade. Do I have people from the landscape committee who would be here to come up and answer questions if anyone has them? Thank you. Directors, do you have any questions for Martin? Come on up, Martin. Come on up, Marie.
I'd like to make a statement. We went over and looked at the pool and measured the pool, and these umbrellas are 16 by 10, and the pool is actually 15 feet wide. There's two of them, so it looks like they would give a considerable amount of shade to that pool, which has absolutely no shade whatsoever. There's 300 houses in that unit, which represents 15% of our community that, and then other people from outside of that area come in and use that pool. So I just wanted to say, I think this is a good thing.
The other good thing about these structures, Bradley, do we have a photo? We're putting up a photo now so everyone can see what they look like. There they are. Thank you. They look like great big leaves, but the really best thing about them is that when the thing that they're sitting in is full of water, it's 700 pounds and cannot be moved. However, if the water is drained out of it, it can be moved. So let's say that we wanted to move one of these shade sails somewhere, it can be moved. It's not like permanent. So directors, any other questions for Martin and Marie? Owners, any questions from owners? Come up.
Nancy Strand, lot 1083. I just didn't hear how much. I couldn't hear that.
Okay, there are two shade structures. They are $15,000 each.
I'm sorry, I kind of object to it because $30,000 seems a little ridiculous for two people to sit under. My name's Christy. I'm at 164.
Thank you.
As far as the landscape committee has looked at or thought of all of those things. And as far as what we came up with, we can get some bigger shades, but they are permanent, drilled into the ground and can't be moved. What's nice about these is that what Jennifer said is that they can be moved around. They can take 105 miles an hour winds and they can pivot. When you set them there, they're solid. You can pivot them and they look good. The other shades are kind of just a square. And what we're after is that a look for NC1 that looks good, but is also able to move during the summer and the winter for the different people that want shade where they want it and where it's most functional during that time. It is a lot of money. This is the cheapest shades that you will find. And I was hesitant myself, but as far as looking at all the different costs and stuff, this is the best buy that we can get if you want shade.
How long are they guaranteed for?
As far as the shades are 10 years. And as far as the cost is what they came up with is around $2,000 after 10 years is what the replacement of the shade is. The next price up is from the same company, which is we've checked out 3 different companies, the best company. And we're also looking at the main pool, but these are square ones that go into the concrete and they're $13,000 a piece. And what they are is 14 by 14. Where these have a different look, which is kind of nice stuff, and they're movable. And I don't think, and so I'll just leave it at that, but these are movable in as far as, there's people that I've talked to, and I don't go over there, I'm in a villa. And as far as when going over to NC1, talking to a couple of people that are there, they say, the winter people and the summer people want shade in different places. And we have different looks. I think you should have those as far as at different times of the year, and where the shade would fall when you permanently mount something. And I think what would be best, then maybe at the general pool, eventually we might want those there also. We want to get these now so we can have them and then get the pool decking done. We're doing some landscaping in that area. We're trying to get NC1 area looking better than it does right now.
So these could be emptied out, moved over to the courtyard and used for happy hours?
Yes, absolutely. It could be moved. And that's what's kind of nice, that we start with 2 and we can see how well they use the stuff. And the company will come out and supervise the maintenance, how to install them, and as far as how to maintain them. There's times that you can drop the whole thing as far as to collapse the whole thing where it's folded up, and then you can release it, and then there's a pivot spot where at certain times of the day you can pivot it around. And, but the nice part is that you can drain it, and 2 men can move it, and then fill it back up, and then it will take 105 miles an hour wind. And then to replace the shade itself, like I said, right now it's $2,000, and it's guaranteed for 10 years.
Any other owner questions?
Hi, I'm Erin, lot 536, and I was here last month, and I appreciate all your time looking for all these ideas and stuff about shades and everything. I think at this particular time, we don't need to spend $30,000 on a shade. I think we probably want to see what happens with the town center pool first and see how we might want to permanently do things there. And I think there are a lot of shade options, but at this time, I don't think we need to spend $30,000. We have a lot of big umbrellas like in the shuffleboard area that we can use for the time being, the next 6 months or so, and that will satisfy shade for the NC1 pool for now.
Thank you.
Hi, Brett Bonner from 1670. I think 30,000 is a lot of money right now for this. And I had an idea that if we could maybe just put it on hold for a little bit, I see the need for it. But wouldn't it be cool to have like a design competition? Like anybody here who can come up with new ideas, and we might find something that is fantastic and way less expensive. So that's just a possibility thrown out there. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, Debbie Luther, Lot 859. 2 years ago, we had a pool focus group, and shade was a very, very high request. There's probably several people. There was about 70 people, I believe, and it just was very high. Do I agree that $30,000 is a lot of money? But at some point, we have got to start getting that shade there or doing something. It was very high that we wanted a resort-looking pool areas. And 2 years ago, when are we going to start doing something? Thank you, Debbie.
Wisdom 379. You guys all know that I am a big person about getting shade in NC1 because there are a lot of people, including my husband, who have skin cancer that can't enjoy that pool or any pool in this resort. Because at NC1, there's only, if I believe right, 2 umbrellas. And if we move those umbrellas with the table over by the pool, something's going to happen. Somebody's going to knock them into the pool and somebody's going to get hurt. These are very important shade for people who would still like to use the amenities of the resort and be able to enjoy
being in some shade, but also enjoy using that pool. So I'm for it, even if we just get one, just buy one, so that we have something going on for this summer, so that the Roadrunner Desert Rat people would love to be able to use that pool.
Thank you, Donna.
The shade pools that the shade umbrellas that we currently have around the resort, around the pools.
Marie,
One second. I just want to address what
lot
Donna
number,
said.
name. Lot number and name.
Pardon? I'm sorry. Marie Beshan, lot 900. I'm sorry. Part of the landscape committee. And the shade umbrellas that we have around the resort and the pool are for sitting around the pool and around while you're talking. The umbrellas that we are proposing are not for that. They are for shading the swimming pools themselves predominantly for people like what Donna just said, who have skin cancer, who have concerns about that. There is nothing currently that does that. These small umbrellas that we have currently do not do that. They cannot do that. The umbrellas that we're proposing are for that. They're large. They can get close to the pool and shade the water so that people who have concerns can actually get in the pool and be shaded. That's what they're for. That's why they're expensive, because they're large and they can withstand 150-mile winds. The umbrellas that we currently have can't do that. That's why they're expensive. And they're cheap compared to what the other vendors that we went to. They're $90,000 to $110,000. You think $15,000 is expensive? I'd like you to try and go and find something cheaper.
And just very quickly, it's 105 miles per hour. I saw Martin holding up his hand.
Hi, I'm Janice from Lot 226. I think it's time to stop kicking the can down the road. Oh, I'm sorry. Janice from Lot 226. I think it's time to stop kicking the can down the road about this. It's very clear that for years, we're one of the original 50 owners. So for years, people have been talking about no shade at the pool. My husband had skin cancer on his head, couldn't use the pool. To have one that's two of these that are mobile and you can move them around and see how many more you need is a fabulous idea. And I like the fact that it has some character rather than just a tarp.
Thank you. Any?
Joy from 216. You're making a big point about them being movable, but that is not, I assume, the pool users who would be moving them. Who would move them? They would be set up in one spot for summer and one spot for winter sun. Who's moving them, and what is that maintenance cost going to be?
The maintenance people would move them.
Yeah, there's nothing to draining. These are, I'd have to look up the facts, but they're 3 or 4 foot diameter. You fill them with water when they're empty. 2 men can move them. So you drain it, come back an hour later, pick it up, move it, fill it up with water. There's nothing to the cost to move them.
Hi, I'm Sandy with Lot 1535. My question is, more than anything, how did you get your price? Did you do a request for quotes or something like that? Or was somebody just looking for it? I did a random search while you were talking for a large patio cover. 10 by 11 is less than $500. Big difference between that and 15,000 each. I understand that, but background, I have worked for local government. We did requests for quotes where we had 3 or 4. That was my question. Did you do that and you have a record of that? Okay.
Thank you.
she brought up a point as far as a stationary, a 14 by 14 from the same company. It's a single pole, it comes up and then it's 14 feet square. But when you have to go down 6 feet with concrete to get the base, the anchor that will handle 105. The way these styles are, and with the name of this that we're looking at, is they can handle, with the way they are built, they can handle that 105 wind also, without all that maintenance. Once you drill into the ground, and that's what we'll have a problem at the main pool, is that what's underneath there, you got to worry about what you're going to hit. This here can sit on top, it can be moved, but it will handle the 105. If you want something that's 14 by 14 that'll handle 105, you got to drill down, you got to anchor down 6 feet, 3 foot diameter to get that kind of anchorage.
Pam, lot 1207. I think you could buy a lot of hats for $30,000.
Thank you.
Michelle Kavanaugh, lot 781, and I am on the landscape committee. A couple of things that I did want to point out, that we're not talking just traditional shades. First of all, we're looking for ones at NC1, the space is limited. According to county code, we cannot have any sail shade or any kind of shade that hovers over the pool because of the feces of the birds going into the pool. These shades were designed specifically that they carry over into the pool, the shade, without actually covering it. That is one of the attractions to these shades that we had selected. So you have to keep that in mind. There's not a space in there where we can pull it back far enough to give the coverage that will make it not touch the pool. So that was a consideration in the whole process as well. So that we are giving adequate coverage as well as the cost. We looked at all avenues and we did look at 3 vendors to pull these out, and the functionality of moving them, and the ideal is to allow winter and summer sun, which is different for this area.
Thank you, Michelle.
Am Bear, lot 433. I think it's fine. My question is, well, then what about NC2? What about the main pool? It's not just a $30,000 one-time thing, because NC2 has no shade on the pool either.
Good question. And right now, we are tackling NC1. The next pool that will be tackled will be the town center pool, which is right now in the process of being repaired. And then NC2. NC2 does have a little bit of shade. No? Okay, thank you, Bear. Anyway, I'm going to call for the vote. It'll be a roll call vote.
Yes, Terry Bader, lot 953. I see there's passionate people on both sides. Do we have to buy 2, or could we buy 1? So if it does work out, we can go down the road and do it again. Or if it doesn't, we've only taken a $15,000 hit. Do we have to buy 2?
We get a better price if we buy 2.
And how much is that price? How much less?
Martin, Marie? Okay.
Well,
the price that we are getting at 15,000 is for buying 5, and they agreed to honor that price if we only buy 2.
Well, vendors, I understand how vendors work, but I would be inclined to say, my opinion is buy 1. Let's see how it works. If the price goes up, buy a few more down the road. If the price goes up, say 10% or so, to buy a few more down the road, we might wind up buying a dozen more. We don't know. But I think $15,000 is not a bad amount to spend for, give it a one-shot deal, see how it works. This way, we don't take a hit for 30,000. That's my opinion.
Thank you, Jerry. I'm going to call for the roll call vote.
Roll call vote. Becca Paulson? I can't hear her. Raise,
Yes.
thumbs
sorry.
up or down?
Up.
Okay, thumbs. Cliff Giroux?
Yes.
Fred Rand?
Yes.
John Chilcote?
Yes.
Jennifer Ellswick?
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
I move to table the proposal from Southwest Gates for installation of access management for an amount not to exceed 172,000. At year 2, there would be an annual fee, which we are going to have to talk about. So it's tabled for now. Or that's what I'm proposing.
I will second tabling it. And for further explanation, I want everyone to know why. This motion calls for an amount not to exceed 172,000 and that there would be an annual fee pass-through of 96,000 to the residents. This particular expense, our CC&Rs do not allow this particular expense as a pass-through. So this, we cannot have this motion. And we need to do more research as to how we would pay for the $96,000 annual expense before the board can vote on the motion. All in favor of tabling, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Sure, okay. But it will be at another board meeting for comments, but if you'd like to comment now, come on up.
Rob Thomas, 82, second gener. I'm glad you tabled it for now. Hopefully you can refine it a little bit or whatever. I personally looked at all that money and it just kind of stuck in my craw a little bit. You know, I just think like card keys or combos or something like that for the place would be a lot more cost effective. You know, $250,000 in 2 years or whatever it is, or $200,000 and no, $250,000 in 2 years is a lot of money for access. And I don't personally see $180,000 worth of theft of services, if that's what you would call it. I don't see people coming over here and using our stuff that we have to spend that kind of money to protect what we have. That's all I got.
Thank you.
Janice again at 226. I'm just going to throw this out there. I own here and I own at Traditions. Traditions has the key card set up and it didn't cost half this. And
I heard about that and I asked the lady who spoke about it to please get us contact information, but we've never. Thank you.
Donna 379. Everybody needs to understand that there are people that come over here and use our facilities. There are people that come over here and use our spa at Cascades. There are people that come over here and use our workout room from the neighborhood. There are people that come over here and use our showers. So yes, there are things that we need to protect. And yes, even if it's a key and a lock that we put on there, fine. If it's like what the billiard room used to have to protect the equipment in there and the pool tables, then find out how much that is, because we need something. We need something. I don't know how many, you know how many times I've been walking, because I walk, the neighborhood, and I see people that are playing on the golf course in golf carts, riding up and down our streets, and I stop them and say, what are you doing? That belongs on the golf course. You don't belong here. Well, we were just looking around. No, see ya, go, before I report you. I mean, come on, guys. There is a need for these. And I don't care what anybody says. Yes, I agree that it shouldn't be tabled, but I think we need to look at something else that will protect our people and our property.
Thank you, Donna.
That price included 26 locations where that would be set up.
Thank you. Okay, I believe we voted to table. Okay, Cliff.
I move to approve the proposal from Pro Solutions AC for the installation of 16 nesting thermostats for an amount not to exceed $7,000 to be paid out of operating.
Do I have a second?
I second it.
Directors, do you have any questions? Owners, any questions?
Glenn Brewer, lot number 539. I'm an electrical contractor. I deal with thermostats every once in a while. Can you explain to me what a nesting thermostat is? What does this do? Its purpose? Anybody?
They are going to be thermostats that will be in a lock type setup to where they will be programmed to where they'll fluctuate 2 degrees, but we won't have people going into the facility and turning it up because they're cold or turning it down because they're hot. They'll be set, and it should save us a lot of money and expenses.
We've had them before, and for some reason they're not tamper-proof. I don't know what would make these tamper-proof. Excuse me, but the thing is, things have changed a lot, so please let me know more about it, please.
These are controlled, I believe, from one location. Doug, you want to come up?
Thank you. Doug Doty, lot 630. When we were requested to look into this, we found a lot of discrepancies in here as far as the thermostats go. And people were coming in, adjusting the thermostats to their liking, which was either warmer or cooler, but then leaving. And even in a room like this, when you set a thermostat down to 72 degrees and nobody's in here, that's a lot of money that's being wasted and causes a lot of maintenance and then the time of a rooftop unit. We found one structure in here that has 6 thermostats, and we don't know where they go. This program would locate that. It's controlled by a central computerized system that management would control. And if we had to adjust it for a meeting like in this, we could set the thermostat to whatever we need, be warmer or colder. And then we could go and turn it back to normal. Say say we wanted it at 79 degrees when it's not being occupied. But when it is occupied, we want to turn it down to 72 about 2 hours maybe ahead of time. We can do that. Now we have people going in there and destroying the secured parts and adjusting them to their liking and not having any control over this. So we've checked into several companies. We did for quite a few months, and we found that this is the most economical, best type of thermostat to be controlled and going from there.
Well, that sounds great. The only question I have is it occupancy driven? Yeah. If it's central command forgets to do something, which there's got to be a human error effect somewhere in here. If the occupancy of the room gets greater and greater, does the thermostat compensate for that, or does it has to go back to command?
Yeah.
It's all controlled by central command, and we would try to get it adjusted ahead of time. There could be some glitches, but if we're expecting 300 people, we'll turn it down to 70 degrees and get it cooled off, because there's a lot of body heat in here. And we want to make it comfortable. We run into situations where, and this is the 3 bears syndrome, 5 people were sitting.
But why in the hell wouldn't you come with it?
Let me continue. 5 people were sitting in here, same table. Somebody walked in and says, "How you guys doing?" And one person said, "I think it's too warm." Next person said, "I think it's too cold in here." Third one said, I'm fine." That's a 3 bear syndrome. So we're not going to satisfy everybody. When we have this many residents, yeah, we can control this as best as we can. We have a group like this, management's going to be aware of it. That's automatic. If there's a club meeting someplace, it's on the calendar. They're going to be aware of it. So there's not a lot of trial and error. We just have to make sure that it gets monitored for the certain amount of time that it's going to be occupied. We want to start controlling costs. We've got a huge APS bill here every month, 12 months out of the year, and we're trying to be conservative, but we're not going to be tight. If you need to be in here and it's comfortable, it's a win. So that's what we're trying to do, is to get it comfortable so we can have a meeting place. Sorry if it's too cold in here, may have to bring a sweater. I'm sorry.
Thank you,
So
Don.
we're all built different.
Okay, my last question. $7,000, did we get other bids? 3 bids. And what were the others? Okay, well, for $7,000, okay, for $7,000, basically, that's an investment that can't give us 100% sure it's going to work properly. So it's up to you.
Thank you.
Carolyn Klein, lot 392. I'm one of the oldies, and we did that. And we were having a meeting, and we invited guests in, and in the summer, that room was 100 degrees. On the weekend, and they called the lot, the guard shack, and they said, we can't change it. So what happens when the weekend comes along with Central? So you don't know who's going to program it. It was over 90 degrees in NC1. We had guests from singles from, um, next door. And
Traditions.
we couldn't stand it. It was 90 degrees in there and it was night. But in summertime, it don't cool off. I don't like to I'm not a techie person and I don't, you can't tell a robot what to do.
Thank you, Marilyn. I think that the
Hi, I'm Aaron, Lot 536. Again, I think this is a lot of money to be spending to control all the heat matters, all these buildings. And with central command, who's going to be central command 24 hours a day, should it need to be done? I think there's other things we can look at as far as like the locking systems and also have somebody on site 24 hours a day, whether it's patrol or whoever, that knows how to maintain and correct when we need a correction on the heat or the cold. I just think it's a lot of money to spend for what we're trying to accomplish.
Thank you.
Bruce Bungsness, lot 2181. I'm on the finance committee. We want to go back to the basics. Why are we doing this? Electricity rates in Arizona are a clear and present danger to every community right now. And so, you know, that was a hard one to kind of decide, well, what's it going to be? I mean, our rates were good this last year because of the coolness, so it saved our bacon a bit. But we're facing big increases and with all the power generation. So this is merely a step to try and get control of one element to hold our electricity down. I mean, that's the fundamental reason for doing this. That's all I got to say.
Thank you.
Debbie Luther, 859. I just wanted to read, developed by Google Nest, it utilizes advanced sensors and algorithms to adjust temperatures automatically, helping to conserve energy and reduce utility bills. So in other words, it will know that the pack's empty every single day from whatever, and you can change it if there is a meeting, but it automatically is going to adjust to what the needs are. And did you say $7,000? I would think that was cheap what it would do over the course of how many months. We have it at home, it works great.
Terry Bader, lot 953. I'm familiar with Nest. It's not nesting, it's Nest. And it is a thermostat. And I know I can go into 3 o'clock in the morning in the library and somebody has fiddled with the thermostat. It's 72 degrees in there and all the lights are on. So that runs 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. I close up, we're part of Fun and Games. When we close up NC2, somebody's fiddled with the thermostat. That thermostat is on 72 degrees, runs all night at 72 degrees. My feeling is Nest is not that really a big thing. So I couldn't see why you could we don't have to take every thermostat in this place. Let's start off with a few of these buildings where the heat or whatever has to be regulated can be regulated at the off-peak hours. So that Nest would be set up for the library come 10 o'clock at night. It would be automatic. The temperature would go up to 78 or 80 degrees. 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, come back on. Start with Nest. It's all Wi-Fi. Somebody could monitor it. On the weekends, I don't know why somebody couldn't monitor it at the guard shack. If somebody calls in an hour advance and says, listen, we're going to use such and such a room. Can you bring the thermostatic, can you bring the temperature up, down, whatever? He literally goes on his cell phone or he goes on the computer and can change it immediately. I would like to see this enacted. I think it would save us a fortune just by doing 3 or 4 of these things in some of these main buildings where the box is wide open and people just do what they want and the AC runs all night. So I am all for it. I wouldn't do the whole place. Let's start off with 3 or 4 spots, see how they work. You can always go forward. It's not that big a deal.
Thank you, Chair.
Maynard Bethune, 1621. Now, I've heard people talking about it's going to cost us $7,000. what's the estimated savings that we're going to see if we go to this?
Doug?
That's a great question, and I thank you for that. It was addressed at the table I was sitting at also. Good answer is hopefully sooner than later. Right now, I don't have that availability because it all depends on how it gets set up and how often it's used, but I know it's going to drop some of our electrical bill. And if it takes a year to save that $7,000, which it may take 2 years, depending on how it's used. Now, folks, we've got a lot of meeting rooms here, and if you go on your calendar, a lot of those meetings are broadcast on front steps. But just to come in and say, well, let's have a meeting Saturday night at 7 o'clock, that's a little tough to swallow when it's not manageable. When, you know, if you call ahead and let us know, that's how that works. So communication's a great thing again. Thank you.
Nest is I'm Janice from 226. Nest is programmable. If you're going to have a meeting or a party in 3 months, you can go into the program and tell it to cool it off 3 months from tomorrow, and it will. And it'll cool it down, and it'll shut off at a certain time. If you stay later than that, well, then you're going to get warm because it doesn't get warm immediately. The nice thing about Nest is it's far-reaching program, and you will get your return on investment pretty quickly here, I feel. And I do them all. I wouldn't do a piece at a time.
Thank you. Let's call for the roll call vote.
Okay. Roll call vote. Becca Paulson?
Yes.
Cliff Giroux?
Yes.
Fred Rand?
Yes.
John Chilcote?
Yes.
Jennifer Ellsworth?
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
I move to approve the proposal from Paradigm Services for the village drainage project for amount not to exceed $65,000 to be paid out of asset improvement.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Directors, questions?
The village drainage, we've got what they call, what we're calling it, flood issue, but we call it the three-headed monster. There's 3 areas that really get flooded over there when we have torrential rains. We have one gal at her place has been flooded 2 or 3 times now. But it's running the drains, so everything's going to that front pond on the golf course. Jason has allowed us to go through his property with part of it. So this was really a good bid. We got other bids from 105,000 down to 65. Paradigm is probably the best. He has already done some work for us, cleaning up an area that we dumped a lot of stuff onto the golf course. 320 tons of it. Did a wonderful job. Jason was so happy about it. So yeah, that's what it is.
Glenn Brower, lot number 539. I happened to be at the BG&M committee meeting when this was all discussed. And basically, I was owned a property here since 1997. We had this drainage problem since then. We threw money away here and there to try to rectify it, and it didn't happen. So once again, we're at the same situation. But the situation you're talking about is a little different than the previous ones, because once you fix one spot, and for some reason the rain doesn't rain that much there, but it rains in a different area, now it's got a spot that needs to be attention to. My question is the golf course going to help and pay for some of this?
I can answer that question. The golf course does not pay for it. because we are draining on their property. They are giving us permission to drain onto their property, but they are not going to pay for it. It is our water going onto their property.
I understand that. I understand the drainage and the route that they were taking. I understand. There will be, if we get a monsoon at a certain time, he might have an unplayable hole. And I can understand, being in the business, that if you can't have a full golf course, you're not going to get people come over here at a certain time of the year. But you think out of just the generosity of it, that he was being neighborly, that he would contribute something to it. Thank you.
He is actually going to be paying for his part of it. The portion on our property, we're paying for, and the portion on his property that carries the water on, and he has to do that for it to work. He's paying for that, so he's contributing. Is that true? Never mind. I was misspoken.
Hey, we all do that once in a while. We've deserved it. We're retired. Again, Doug Doty, lot 630. I am the chair for the BGM. And we did get different bids. This company has already done some engineering for this. To shed water away, not create another going from point A to point B and causing another flood. This is eliminating the biggest portion for right now. There's two other areas that are of concern that we'll be addressing at a later date. But we want to control this big one now. The three-headed monster, that's an ugly name. And I've walked it. And I can see where the discrepancies are. And they've been created over the last 40 plus years that those villas have been there. So we want to finalize. And I believe this is the first time since the inception of that area that area has been engineered with the best type of drainage system. It's not just one type of drainage system, there's three of them. There's the flow, there's solid pipe, there's perforated pipe. So one will help the other. So we need to help eliminate the flooding issues and go from there. That's why we voted on passing for per diem to do this and present it to the board.
Thank you, Doug.
And yes, we will be paying for Jason's part, which is, well, our share is just under 44,000 on our side of the fence. His side is a little over 15,000. But his is a little bit more sophisticated, so he doesn't end up with the flooding also. So we're trying to remediate it. He's really on top of this and on board with it, and he's very pleased with the way this is proceeding.
Thank you, Doug.
Roll call vote. Becca Paulson,
Yes.
Bob Carl, lot 2254. I just have one question. How many days a year are we talking about?
I don't think it's how many days in the year, it's how many houses get flooded, or how many villas get flooded. I don't think I'd like 6 inches of water in mine.
Roll call vote.
okay. Becca Paulson,
Yes.
Cliff Giroux,
Yes.
Fred Rand,
Yes.
John Chilcote,
Yes.
Jennifer Ellswick.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Becca, can you make the next motion, please?
Sure. I, Becca Paulson, move to approve having the Happy Trails Community Association to the club reserve funds come from the previous year's interest earned by the Asset Improvement Fund.
Thank you, Becca.
there a
Unfortunately,
second?
you're coming through kind of like a combination of Donald Duck maybe underwater.
Oh.
So
Sorry.
let me read this. Um, And I'm repeating for Becca. I, Becca Paulson, move to approve having the Happy Trails Community Association's contribution to the club reserve funds come from the previous year's interest earned by the Asset Improvement Fund. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, John. Directors, is there any question? Initially, when the Club Reserve Fund was set up, there was a motion that the Club Reserve funds would be funded by the previous year's interest on the Asset Improvement Fund. However, it only listed 1 year in the original motion. So we are simply making a motion now that we do not have to make a motion every year to fund the Club Reserve funds from the interest from the Asset Improvement Fund. Owners?
Roll call vote. Becca Paulson,
Yes.
Cliff Giroux,
Yes.
Fred Rand,
Yes.
John Chilcote,
Yes.
Jennifer Ellswick.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
John?
I, John Chilcote, move to approve Terry Janquist, Jess Marmode, and Gary Saunders as members of the Safety Committee and to renew the term for Ron Wilson and Barbara Fogelberg.
I second it.
Directors, are there any questions? I just have one for John. You interviewed on you and Barb. No, I'm sorry. Becca.
I, Beck Paulson, move to approve Jackie Adamson as a member
Wait,
of the
hold on.
Communications Committee.
We're not there yet.
Sorry.
We're
I'm
not
sorry,
there.
I,
Okay. They were interviewed, yes. Thank you. That's all I needed. All in favor of approving Terry, and I'm not even gonna try the last names. All in favor of approving Terry, Jess, Gary as members of the Safety Committee and to renew Ron and Barb, please signify by saying aye.
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 Becca? Aye. Nay. Becca? Okay, Becca. We lost Becca again? Okay. I will read this motion for Becca. I, Becca Paulson, move to approve Jackie Adamson as a member of the Communications Committee. Do we have a second? Seconded by John.
I second.
Directors, any questions? Everyone in favor of approving Jackie as a member of the Communications Committee, please signify by saying aye.
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 I, John Chilcote, move to approve Julie Allen, Paul Bradford, Jared Janquist, and Marty Whitman as members of the Ad Hoc Trash Committee.
Second. Any questions? All directors in favor? Anyone in favor? By approving, once again, first names, Julie, Paul, Terry, and Marty as members of the Ad Hoc Trash Committee, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
I,
Okay. Jennifer Ellsworth, move to approve creation of an ad hoc committee to research all possible scenarios for management of Happy Trails Resort and submit proposals based on committee findings. The committee will be comprised of one owner from each section who is randomly chosen. The committee will select their chair. There will be no management involvement, and the board will be involved when the proposals are submitted. Do I have a second?
I second it.
Second.
Thank you. I would like to give a little bit of an explanation about this and also extend an apology to Michelle Stoltz. When we had our March planning meeting, I put Michelle on the spot and I asked her if she would chair this committee, and being on the spot, she graciously said yes. However, at the March board meeting, the board voted unanimously to postpone this until fall. Michelle did send us an email that said that we did misunderstand what she meant by proposing until fall, that she felt that the committee should be getting started right away. So my apologies to Michelle, both for putting her on the spot and for misunderstanding her. However, after giving this a great deal of consideration, the directors felt, let me go back one minute here. The normal process for an ad hoc committee would be that at a board meeting, the ad hoc committee and the chair would be approved, and then the chair, the liaison, and a member of management would interview members for that committee. Because of the nature of this particular ad hoc committee, that model does not work. The directors agreed that we need to step away from it as directors, and we need to have management stepping away from it, so that this can be a totally random selection, of members for this committee, and so that each section of Happy Trails can be represented on this committee, and so that when they are formed, they will elect their chair and they will move forward. And if you notice that it says all possible scenarios for the management of Happy Trails. So this committee will be busy investigating and looking and bringing proposals to the board. That is why this changed from a typical ad hoc committee motion. Owners, any questions?
Brett Bonner from 1670. I always get frustrated when, most city councils and county councils publish a packet, a board packet, not just an agenda, but specific details, reports from say, the landscaping committee, where we can come into this meeting with just as much knowledge as you guys have, having the specifics. And it would be great to have something like that so that we know what's going on before the meeting, just like you guys know what's going on before the meeting. And I don't think it would be that difficult. I mean, from your planning meeting, you have like a couple weeks before the regular board meeting, right? Is that correct? Seems like in 2 weeks, once a month, we could put that together and let us all know what's happening. So thank you.
I appreciate your comment. However, you were not speaking to the motion on the floor, but that's okay. I wish to address your comment. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. We tried it. It was available January, February, and March, and no more than 5 people in any month went in and looked at the packet that was available for owners to see.
Where was this?
It was in the office. You could request it. It was in a binder, and it's been there January, February, and March.
And how did we know this?
It was announced in the planning meeting. it was announced in the board meeting, and I actually spoke about it in the last board meeting.
Well, if you can put political biased information on Facebook during an election, it seems like you could put this on there
And-
too, on front steps.
And do you have something to say to the motion on the floor? Thank you.
Christy McBride, 164. I'm just wondering, how are you going to select the people for this committee?
You know what? That is an absolutely excellent question. Please stay up. Thank you. An excellent question. And it's going to be 100% random. Tomorrow, we will actually send out a blast so you can see exactly how it works. But everyone can fill out a volunteer form. The volunteer forms will be put in the voting box where we put ballots. At the May meeting, that box will be open, and let's say I live in section 4 and I put my name in. My name would go into a bucket or a basket for section 4, and you live in maybe section 2. Okay, you live in section 1, you put your name in, your name goes into a basket for section 1. So once we pull all of these out and we put them in their respective section buckets, we will randomly pull a name out, and that will be the person that's on the committee. And there's a little bit more detail in it, but that's the basics.
How many people are going to be on?
One from each section. We have 10 sections. Thank you. All those in favor of the ad hoc committee, please signify by saying aye.
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 I have a few comments. I have a few comments before we adjourn. And I've already spoke to this briefly because the gentleman came up and asked about it. But the board tried making the entire board meeting packet available at the front desk in a binder for the first quarter of the year. No more than 5 people ever asked to see it. In an effort to get the information to the people attending the board meeting, if a committee has a motion on the agenda, a committee member will be at the meeting to further explain and answer questions. This gets the details to everyone at the meeting. We tried that last month when Barb Kugelberg spoke about safety. Doug Doty spoke about BG&M. Today, landscape people talk. We think that this will give everyone an opportunity to speak, to ask questions of the people that were involved in bringing the proposals to the board. We approved an ad hoc committee to bring ideas for the management of Happy Trails. And please watch for the post about the process for randomly selecting committee members. The committee conversations are a lot of fun, and I don't know show of hands, how many attended them? Either the one for the chuck wagon or the one for what the resort means. They're a lot of fun. It's an opportunity for everybody to talk about what these particular topics mean to them. And we are focused, after the chuck wagon, we are forming a chuck wagon focus group. And the chuck wagon focus group, if anybody hasn't signed up, wants to sign up, please do. We will be announcing a date, time for the chuck wagon focus group to meet and start talking about the future of the chuck wagon. I did give you an update last month on where we were with the police report, and I wish to give you an update on that now. Last month, I updated the complaint of embezzlement filed with the Surprise Police Department. A person indicating that they represented the Happy Trails Board of Directors filed a complaint of embezzlement with the Surprise Police Department. Officer Jones came to my home to ask if I wanted to act on the complaint. There are 2 problems with this question. There was no embezzlement, and the entire Board of Directors would have to vote to file a complaint. Officer Jones knows who filed the complaint. However, that person wished to remain anonymous. We have filed the paperwork to get a copy of the original complaint showing the filer's name. This case was turned over to Detective McConigal and is an active investigation. So no further information is available. However, and since our last meeting, I have now contacted Sergeant Messina and Lieutenant Hollowell, along with Officer Jones and Detective McGonigal. We still cannot even get an answer as to what is being investigated, and as we learn more, we will let everyone know. I want to tell you that I call all 4 of these people every day and leave them voice messages, and not one of them has had the courtesy of returning my call. Candidly, I'm going to tell all of you sitting in this room, if I do not hear back from them, I will be in the mayor's office next week asking why I cannot get an answer, making 4 calls a day for over 4 weeks. This started on March 9th. Thank you all for coming and enjoy your day.
I would like to say one thing to the community. There was an email yesterday that was put on Facebook about the board decided to remove the book with the information that was in the office. The board never did vote on that. The statement was made that the board voted to remove it. That is not true. And that's the problem we've got. People are giving you information that are not true about what's going on.
Thank you, Fred. The meeting is adjourned at, thank you all for coming.